Penguin, Episode 7, Top Hat. And it's your boy Icon with a DC television animated Max original review for you, going over that Penguin. And before we get started, hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, like and subscribe as always, and all that good stuff. And let's talk about a little Penguin, because this is actually the second to last episode, and then we got one more episode left, and then we conclude the Penguin. So for this one, we got a little tiny backstory of the Penguin's childhood. Good old Oz. And they keep calling him, like, obviously they're calling him Oz because it's short for Oswald. But instead of referring to his family as Cobblepot, they keep calling them Cobb. Like they call him Oz Cobb. And I'm like, are we in the business of shortening people's last names as well, or like that part? So I'm trying to figure out, and I'm trying to think, did anyone call him Cobblepot at some point during this entire series? I'm trying to figure out, is he called Oswald Cobblepot, or did they change his last name to fit the, for whatever reason for the show? But anyway, so now we're talking about young Oz and his two brothers, and they're following the yellow brick road. Like, they're going around, and you can see, like, they're bumping into certain people, bumping into mobsters, gangsters, like well-known, like evil people of society. And we see that Oz is actually infatuated with the criminal life and with, and with being a boss. When he was a child, he already had the limp, and if they brought it up, I forget, but it was never, I don't remember it being said how he got his leg like fractured or broke. I don't know if it was from birth or he got into an accident, because he had like a brace like on his leg when he was walking, because in earlier episodes, when he took off his shoe, his feet were kind of like mangled or like bent out of shape, and it was assumed he had the limp because of something going on with his foot. But now he had a full-blown leg brace on, so now I'm just like, I would have liked to have had an explanation or a scene as to what happened to his leg. And then it was like his dad's not there, no mention of his daddy, but his brothers, and his mother, they all live in the apartment together. And his mother had this whole thing where she felt like she deserved the best, and she felt like she deserved, like all the riches that money can buy. Like, she was very just like, oh, I deserve to be happy. Instead of like really like buckling down and like focusing on your children, she still had this like it's all about me mentality. And she even told her kids, she was like, make sure you become successful so I can have all the things that I want. And I'm like, well, that's fucked up. But then it's like, so it's this whole thing. And then there was a moment where the three, because they showed you that Oz loved his mother throughout the entire thing. But there was a moment where the three of them were going out and they were playing hide and seek. They were in the caverns, in the train stations, hiding in the same places where Oz is currently now making his bliss drug. And they were playing hide and seek. Oz was it. They were going around trying to find him. Oz was trying to find his brothers. His brothers went into, I guess, like some secret room or whatever that had a ladder that went down to the bottom. And they hid in there, to play hide and seek. When Oz opened the door, he looked in and he saw his brothers. And then they were just like, well, it's hide and seek, so in order, you got to tag us, you got to come down here. Oz tried to climb down the ladder to go down there to where his brothers were, and he couldn't because of his bad leg. And then he got frustrated, and he was like, you guys know I have a bad leg and it's difficult for me to climb down. And then he got mad and sealed the door with his brothers inside and just left them to die. And I was just like, well, that was very dramatic. It was just like talk about going from like 0 to 6. Like, he got frustrated over like one thing, and he was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna kill them all, because it started raining at that point. And then when it started raining, water started filling up the sewers and started filling up the train station. So the room that he sealed his brothers in was filling up with water. And now it's like he basically like killed and drowned his brothers. So then he goes home. He starts talking to his mom. Him and his mom start watching movies. And his mom had made a comment. She was like, oh, where's your brothers? And he was like, oh, they went to the movies. His mom was very nonchalant about what happened to her kids. She's just like, oh, okay. And I'm like, the boys was like, what they said, like 15 and 10 or something like that, or like 10 and like 8 or something. Like, they were young. The fact that she was sitting on the couch watching TV with her other child while there was a rainstorm happening when two of her kids were out on the street, I was like, what is wrong with this lady? There was just no sense of urgency. And then, and then obviously when it shows him hugging his, her hugging Oz, and the two of them like, being happy together, then that's when the Penguin, like title thing rolled. And then we just moved on to what was happening. I was just like, well, damn, like, she didn't call the cops. She didn't do anything. So now it takes us to where, because again, Sophia, she found Oz's mom. She found Vic. and I guess she got the goon. Either Sophia got the goons on them, or Vic really needs to learn how to fight, because the only person, because in the last episode we only saw Sophia Falcone. She was the only one there. There wasn't any goons or any other people. So if there were no other goons or anything, you're basically telling me that Sophia Falcone beat the shit out of Vic. And I was just like, come on, Vic. Like, I need you to do better than that. When, but when Oz got there, when he got to the apartment, Vic was on the floor, like all battered and bloodied, and his mother was gone. So then, she ends up calling Oz, like Sophia calls Oz, and then she's like, oh, I got your ma. She was just like, give me my drug, my drug business, otherwise you're going to die. Maroney shows up, beats the shit out of him with his own golf clubs, and then they're just like, yeah, we're going to take you to Sophia Falcone, but first you're going to show us, where the drugs are and where you keep all the product. Before Maroney entered the apartment, Oz woke Vic up and told him, he said, listen, some shit's about to go down. There's about to be a war, and I need you to find me an army. I need you to get me soldiers that can help me win the war. And then, Vic tried to apologize for getting his mom took it. He was like, yo, stop with the apology shit. He said, go out the fire escape and just get me some soldiers, because it's like, we gotta hold this shit down. Now, the first thing that popped into my mind was, he had just made a deal with every other like crime boss in the city, because that's when he had like the Gold Summit where everybody came together and they decided that they were going to be like the new crime family of Gotham. I would assume Vic would go talk to those people. Like, it would make the most sense that Vic would go to those people and he would be like, yo, Oz is in trouble. Because after that, we never saw Vic again. And even then, when somebody was like how they kept trying to call him, like his phone kept going to voicemail. So then, like, Maroney shows up, he starts beating the shit out of Oz. He's like, yo, take me to where the drugs are. So Oz takes him to where the drugs are, and when they go into the room, they go into like the cavern space, which was the same cavern space where him and his brothers played tag many years ago. Maroney told everybody, he said, like, me and Sophia Gigante, like, we're in charge now. We run this shit. Oz has been taken down. But everybody who was underground, they were still loyal to Oz, especially the one black dude who was trying to fix the power. So then he created like a power outage, made the whole room go dark. Everybody started fighting. It was like the Maroney goons versus like Oz's people. And then there was a moment where Oz and Maroney actually had a straight up one-on-one fight. And then they was actually, I mean, Maroney was kicking his ass, but Oz was actually like holding his ground. And this is very funny too, because I watched the latest episode of Superman and Lois, and right after getting a scene here with Oz versus Maroney, we got Clark Kent versus Lex Luthor fighting in the street on Superman and Lois. So I'm just like, the two images, those two scenes just like mirrored each other for me, and I just thought it was funny. But while they were fighting, Penguin was about to get the upper hand. Maroney had the upper hand, and I guess Maroney was going to like knock him out or whatever. But then Maroney had a heart attack, and while he was going, and then it was crazy because he ended up having a heart attack. And then after he had the heart attack, he fell on the floor and died. And then like Oz turned around, he was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Because he was just like, it was one of those things where Oz wanted to like finish him on his own, and then Maroney's heart just gave out and he died. And it's like Oz wanted to gloat, because right before Maroney died, he picked him up and he was like, yo, I won, you son of a bitch. Like, I beat you, I won. But you could tell he was still disappointed because he didn't actually like defeat him. Like, Maroney basically, his body gave out on him, and he defeated, like Father Time defeated Maroney. So then after that, Oz, like, he came back outside. He shot him anyway. Like, he was like, I guess, like, although he died of a heart attack, like, just shooting him made him feel better. And then he threw Maroney out, and then he was just like, hey, he was like, we defended our turf. We defended everything. You guys are the shit. It's like, I fucks with y'all, and we need to come together as a unit, as an army, because she'll be back, and we need to take Sophia out when she gets here. So, like, who's with me? And everybody was like, yeah, we're with you. Like, we got you, Oz. He ends up calling Sophia, and then he tells her like, yo, Falcone is dead and you're next, bitch. But then that's what I thought he was going to say. But he basically told her, he was like, look, he said, I'm sick of this. He's like, I'm tired. I'm sure you're tired. He said, look, all you want, he said, I know all you wanted was just to sit on the throne. You just want the power. So cut the bullshit. Give me my mother back. I'll give you the drug empire. You can keep the drug empire. And then let me just take my mom and ride off into the sunset. And then he was just like, you call me back with the details. So Sophia then, she ends up going into the room where she was keeping Oz's mother, and the two of them had a conversation. And that was pretty interesting because it was basically like the female version of a dick swinging contest. But Oz's mom actually got the better of Sophia in that whole thing because she was just telling her, she was like, first of all, she said, you think you're a big shot because you changed your name to Gigante? She's like, that don't mean shit. She's like, the game is still the game. Like, the rules are still the same. It's like nothing's changed. She said, you're still following the same shit that your dad did. You're still following the same stuff that Oz did. But the difference is Oz is smarter than you. Oz knows this game better than you. And Oz is going to beat you. He was like, bitch, you ain't shit. And then that's when Sophia had brought up, she said that, well, I'm glad your other two sons weren't around, to be turned into the monsters that Oz is. And then I guess that's when his mother's like PTSD kicked in, or she has some sort of like, she has this trauma of when her sons get brought up, she slips into the mental mind frame of where she was, I guess, when she found out that both of her sons were dead. Because obviously, I assume they never found the body. Nobody ever said anything about it. And I'm pretty sure she blames herself for why they were dead, which she should, because she never really tried to find them. So she basically, like, her mind just basically went elsewhere to the point where Sophia was like, what's wrong with this bitch? But then she called in good old Shades. And then, when Shades came in, Shades actually told her, he said, remember the little girl, like your niece that you saved when you killed everybody else in the house? She's basically getting ready to talk to the cops, so you might want to handle that. And then Sophia was like, great, but first I need you to go talk to his mom because his mom's basically out here like, having like delusions of grandeur. And he's a doctor, he's a psych doctor. He's like, I need you to filter through all this information so I can figure out what the hell this bitch is trying to talk about. So Shades went to go talk to the mother, and then Sophia went down to go see her niece. She put her niece in a mental institution. I don't know how that, like, you would think Sophia would have taken her niece and raised her in her image to be like her protege, her Robin, if you will. But instead, she threw the girl in a mental institution. And I'm like, you're just repeating the cycle. Like, you're just repeating the cycle of what your dad did to you. But then the niece even said, she was just like, oh, she said that I saw a mask in your bag. Were you the one that killed my parents? And then she was like, how could you accuse me of something like that? Like, she said, like, I love you, like, you're going to get out of here soon, and don't worry, you're going to be a better person than this family could ever be. And then after thinking about what she was doing to her niece in the moment, and then also the conversation she had with Oswald's mother, about when she told her, she was like, oh, you're just like your dad, the rules are the same, like, you ain't no better, changing your name don't mean shit. She got emotional, and she just told her niece the truth. She was like, look, your parents were bad people. Our family was bad people. You're better off that they're gone, and you deserve a better life than what these bad people could give you. And I was like, well, shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, way to let the cat out of the bag, Sophia Falcone. And then after that, she went back to Shades, and she was like, look, I don't want to be like my father. I want to do things differently. She said, I don't want to be this person, but I still want Oswald to suffer, and I still want him to pay. So then she came up with the idea to make Oswald suffer. So now Oz got all his people together, like all his cronies together. They all got guns and everything. Sophia was supposed to show up to where the bliss was being made, and then I guess Oz was going to ambush her and kill her. When she brought the black car in, Oz thought she was in there, but then she called him. And then Oz was just like, well, get out the damn car and let's take care of the business. And then she told them, that's when Sophia told him, she said, you know what? She said that your mom made me realize, and like other things made me realize, that I'm sick of playing like your game. I'm sick of playing like my father's game. She said, like, you guys think I didn't know anything. I don't learn anything. She said, but the one thing that I have over that you guys don't, you guys are still playing the same old tired game. And I'm about to flip the script and like make new rules. And I'm about to start a new game that nobody knows anything about. So then when Oz went to the back of the truck, he thought that his mother was in the back of the truck dead. Now, that's a move that the old regime would have did. Like the Falcones, like the Maronis. It's like eye for an eye. It's like, oh, you killed my wife, I'll kill your brother. You killed my sister, I'll kill your niece. So he assumed, based on the rules of the game, that his mother was in the back seat of the car. But then when he went in the back seat of the car to go see if his mother's body was in there, it turned out Sophia had put explosives in there and his mother's still alive. And she said to him, she said, well, you got a chance to get out of here. So if you do survive, come meet me and then let's talk. The fucked up thing that Oz did was he didn't tell his boys that there was a bomb in there to give them a chance to escape as well. Oz just dipped. And what brought it full circle was when the bomb exploded, it destroyed the Bliss Lab, it destroyed all the drugs, it destroyed every single thing that they had. It killed all of Oz's people. But Oz protected himself from the blast because he hid in the same chamber room that he locked his brothers in like so long ago. And I was just like, well, shit. I thought we were gonna see like his brother's like corpses like floating around in there. So that was actually pretty like eerie, you know. And then we ended up getting a scene where Oz and his mother went to a party, and then she told him, she's like, "Give me all the things that I deserve, Oz." And then after that, Oswald came out from under, because now his entire operation is completely gone. Sophia still has his mother. And then when Oz came up topside, because the blast was so strong, it actually destroyed the neighborhood. Like, it destroyed like the entire neighborhood. And like buildings were knocked over, lampposts were knocked over, cars were destroyed. People were like running for their lives because like they were like injured and they were hurt and they were like coughing. And then that one crooked cop that's hooked on like crack, he rolled up on Oz in the street. He knocked him out and said, "Sophia Falcone wants to see you." So that was how the episode ended, and thank you for tuning in. So we have one more episode left. So now I guess we're going to get the final confrontation, because his mother's still alive, so she still has something over him. Sophia is not going to let up, because she basically sacrificed the drug game. Because, again, the old rules would have been you either trade the mother for the drugs, because it's all about the drugs, or you send him a message by sending him his dead mother, and then you just take the drugs. But I guess she doesn't want to be a mobster anymore. She doesn't want to be a mob boss, but she still can't get over the fact that Oz got one over on her and like killed her brother or whatever. So she still wants to make him pay. And I feel like that's going to be Sophia's downfall, because she could have just walked away, or she could have just either taken the drugs and moved on, or she could have just walked away. But now she's like obsessed with like getting revenge to make Oz suffer, and that's going to be her downfall. So we're going to get the final confrontation between Sophia Falcone and Oz together, you know, deciding like whose faith is what. Meanwhile, Vic is somewhere in the wind, who's obviously going to be the X Factor. But we'll see what happens when this concludes next Sunday. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. One more episode of The Penguin to go. So check out my other reviews, because I got Superman and Lois up on my channel. I've concluded Agatha All Along. I got Agatha All Along concluded up on my channel. I've also concluded Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Check that out as well. So we got Agatha gone. We got Tomb Raider gone. Next week, we're going to end The Penguin. But thank goodness we still got 4 more episodes of Superman and Lois until we get Cobra Kai, and then we get Creature Commandos on December 5th. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. So till next week for the finale of Penguin, watch out for the top hat to see who rules Gotham. And until then, we're out this bitch.